Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Flight Podcast. My name is Jacob Shanker.
And I'm Andrew Thomas. Today, the NBA kicks off as the New Orleans Pelicans play the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Lakers play the Los Angeles Clippers. As this podcast is being aired, the games would have already ended. But Jacob, who do you pick to win the games tonight?
Well, between the Pelicans and the Jazz, I got to go with the Pelicans. I mean, I think they're a more well-rounded team. I think now that Zion is healthy and he's going to be able to play, he's going to be able to do more and be able to score more, play better defensively. And I mean, I think everybody on the Pelicans, it's just a very well-rounded team. Even though right now they're not in playoff contention, they still have Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday. And I mean, while I think the Jazz are a great team, I really just don't think that they're going to be able to pull through tonight.
Yeah, and obviously also with all the Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell beef stirring up and how the corona stopped the NBA and how all this stuff happened, the Jazz are clearly not a great team chemistry-wise anymore.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, it's definitely what Rudy Gobert did a couple months ago. Definitely changed the whole dynamic with their team, and it's definitely changed their chemistry, made them a lot worse. And we'll see how they go moving forward. But
Yep.
between the Lakers and Clippers game, I got to go with the Lakers because a lot of the Clippers players are not playing tonight. Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and Patrick Beverley, who are some of their best players on the team, who are not going to be playing. And but the Lakers also do have a lot of game time decision players that we're not sure who's going to play. Anthony Davis, Kyle Kuzma, Rondo's not playing. So, but I still think that the Lakers are going to beat over the Clippers because I really just think that LeBron is going to pull through tonight.
All right. I do think that the Lakers will win, but I'm also not counting out the Clippers because obviously Anthony Davis is a game time decision with his eye. He's day to day. So if he's not playing, I'm not sure who's going to win. That's a really tough decision that I haven't put out. But if Anthony Davis is playing, I think the Lakers are going to win. But either way, I think it's going to be a close game because in the first game of the season, the Clippers played without Paul George. And even though they did have all their players, they didn't have Paul George, and Paul George obviously wasn't. He's a very big piece to the Clippers, and they still beat the Lakers with AD and LeBron. So I picked the Lakers, but I'm not counting out the Clippers.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. I mean, yeah, it really just depends on who's going to be playing the games tonight, and that's going to be a big factor for who's going to win.
All right.
In the last podcast, we gave our list for the top 10 teams heading into the playoffs. So today, we're going to give our top 10 players heading into the playoffs. So to get things started off, who do you got at number 10, Andrew?
Number 10, I have PG-13, Paul George. He hasn't performed great in the playoffs. In fact, he's choked in when he was on the Thunder, he choked in some games. But I think that since he's not the leader of the team that he was last year, I think that Kawhi Leonard is going to explode. And I think that Paul George isn't going to have to force up shots. I think he's going to be shooting threes in the corners and he's going to be a good player. So Paul George at number 10. Who do you got at number 10, Jacob?
I got Paul George at 10 also. I mean, yeah, like you said, he did not do well in the playoffs last season with the Thunder against the Trailblazers. But I still like he was still a great playoff player. He didn't he choked, but he's I still think he's going to do well this playoffs. I mean, I really don't think that he has played as well in the playoffs as he did since when he was on the Pacers. Because he was a lot better in the playoffs on the Pacers. He was amazing then, and I think it's really going to be how Kawhi and Paul George can really figure out how they're going to play together and how to play well together.
Yep.
So for number 9, who do you got?
Originally, I had Russell Westbrook, but I moved him up and I changed my decision to Jimmy Butler.
Hmm.
I was looking deep into the stats, and I looked from last year. Jimmy Butler, I thought he did better than he actually did. He had some inconsistent games. He scored less than 10 points in some of them. And even though he did get past to the second round, he didn't do good in Game 7 against the Raptors. And I was looking at that, and there's 8 players on my list that I think are going to do better than him in the playoffs. Plus, he's in the Eastern Conference, which will be tough with Giannis and the Raptors and the Celtics. And that's why I have him at number 9.
Well, I know you're being a little biased on this one with your
Oh, that's not
Westbrook.
biased. That's just, I just looked
It's
into
a
it.
bit biased. Come on, man.
No.
All right.
But
If you
I
weren't
looked
a
at
Russell Westbrook fan, I think you would have put him at 9.
I gave my reasoning, and I gave good reasoning for why I put Russell Westbrook over Jimmy Butler.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have Russell Westbrook at 9 because if you want to talk about inconsistency, in 2 out of the 5 games that Russell Westbrook played in the last playoffs, he shot under 30% in 2 of those games, and he only had 14 points in those games. In both games, the Thunder lost. Now, I really think that Jimmy Butler is a better playoff player right now than Russell Westbrook because of one major factor. Russell Westbrook has not gotten past the first round since Kevin Durant left the Thunder.
But now he has James Harden.
That's true. You're right, but he also had Paul George last year, who was also an MVP candidate.
But he was terrible in the playoffs, and you can't say that he was good because he went for 19% from the field in Game 3, I think it was. And Russ had a good game, and Russ helped them win that game.
Okay, no, yeah, I'm not saying that Paul George played great. He played fine. But I think Jimmy Butler's a better leader. He was able to lead the 76ers to the second round. And even the fact that he was able to push the Raptors to a Game 7 is very good. I mean, yeah, you're right. He didn't play that well in Game 7. But the rest of the games, he played very well. He averaged that whole entire playoffs 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. And his shooting was very good.
Well, don't forget, I think it was Game 2 where he shot 3 for 10 and he only scored 7 points.
And you mean the first round?
First round, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did, but I still think that a big thing, like I said, Russell Westbrook has not been able to get past the first round. So,
Okay,
I mean, yeah, you can say that, but I still think that Russell Westbrook deserves to be at 9th. I really don't think that he has been playing in the playoffs as well as he used to be. So that's what I got. So
all right. Well, I gave all my reasonings for why I think Russ is better than Jimmy Butler. So let's head on to number 7. Who you got?
You mean number 8? Number 8. We're on 8 right now. But
Are we?
yeah,
8?
well, yeah, I have Jimmy Butler for 8. You said you have Russ for 8, right?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah,
So we are at 7.
Yeah, we are at 7.
Number 7 on top.
My bad. Yeah, so number 7, I got Damian Lillard. He last playoffs was one of the craziest playoffs I've seen him play in. He averaged 27 points, almost 5 rebounds, over 6 assists. He was able to lead the Trailblazers to that Western Conference Finals where, I mean, he didn't play as well, but the fact that he was able to lead them to that was, I mean, that was really good over the Thunder and the Nuggets, the Nuggets were good. The Thunder, I don't know about that, but the Nuggets were good. Jokic was great. And Dame he played very well in that playoffs. And one of the best buzzer beaters I've ever seen was against your Thunder. So I got
that's not a fond memory. I remember waking up to that. It was a rough morning.
Yeah, I bet.
But at the same time, Damian Lillard was only very good in the first round. He was okay against the Denver, and he was not good against the Warriors. He had one good game against the Warriors. The other 3, He scored 19, 23, and 19 on 33, 37, and 27% shooting. Plus, in Game 7, he completely choked against the Denver Nuggets. He went 3 for 17, scored 13 points, and C.J. McCollum had to score 37 points to get Portland to the conference finals.
Yeah, but at the same time, in the first game, he also hit almost 40 points on 57% shooting.
Well, yes, that's good, but
That's very good, especially for him as
yeah,
he's a scorer, and to score 40 points, that's very good shooting. And
yeah, but
with him, and yeah, he did better. His best was in the first round. He did insane in the first
obviously,
round.
yeah.
Yeah. The second round, I think he did slightly worse, and the Western Conference Finals, it was just
More than
inconsistent.
slightly worse.
No,
Well, he
no.
wasn't.
He had 2 games that I think were that were not great. And he had 14 points in one of those games and 13 in the other. But every other game he had 39 points, 32 points, 28 twice, 22, which is, I mean, it's very good.
22 for Damian Lillard. He shouldn't be dropping 22. Plus,
I mean,
when he dropped 22, Denver won by 26 points.
Yeah, he didn't do that great in that game. But with the Western Conference Finals, it was just him being inconsistent.
Well, he wasn't inconsistent. He was just bad.
Okay, but throughout the whole, but the playoffs as a whole, he still played great. He was still able to lead the Trailblazers into getting them to the Western Conference Finals. Whether or not he had a couple of bad games, he still was able to have a great playoff run.
Well, yeah, but you can't forget that he was being guarded by Curry, who Curry is not a great defender. He's a decent defender. He's not great. In the Western Conference Finals, he averaged 22 points, which is definitely not what Damian Lillard should be averaging, on 37% from the field, 37 from 3, 5 rebounds and 8 assists. And he had 0 blocks, and he had 0.8 steals.
Yeah, but in that last game against the Warriors, he did very well. He had 28 points, 12 assists on 46% shooting. So, I mean, 28 points.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's good. Are you kidding me?
That's a good game, but
yeah. So
if Damian Lillard did what he
put Dame at 7?
What? I'm sorry.
Are you putting Dame at 7?
Dame is at 7.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So yeah. So you do agree that with that, at least that he's at 7th.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I think that the Trailblazers are going to make the playoffs this year over the Grizzlies, which hurts me because I love Ja Morant. But
yeah, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think that the Pelicans are going to make it. They have the easiest schedule, but we've already gone over this.
Yeah, we have. Okay.
So let's get on to number 6, and I think that you should have the same player as me, but I have Nikola Jokic.
Yep, I got Jokic. I don't think there's much to say about that. He was great in the last playoffs. Averaged almost a triple-double.
Which is still phenomenal. The fact that he averaged more assists than Damian Lillard was great.
Yeah, especially as a center.
The only thing that Damian Lillard had more than, I believe, was either steals and points, if not just points.
Yeah.
And Jokic stepped up his game massively. He averaged 20 points for the regular season, and he averaged 25 points in the playoffs. Jokic is a beast in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on to number 5, where I know you're not going to be happy with this one either, but I got James Harden.
It's not that I'm not happy.
Don't get me wrong.
I disagree with you.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great player in the playoffs. I just think that he deserves to be at number 5 because of, although, yeah, he has been averaging, in the last playoffs, he averaged 31 points, almost 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. But I wouldn't put him over a player like Anthony Davis, who also averaged a double-double with 30 points and 13 rebounds, who is also incredible defensively, who had averaged 2 steals and over 2 blocks, which is just nuts. It's insane in
Yeah,
the playoffs,
that's good.
right?
But yeah, but that also you're also forgetting that he's playing with LeBron James, and he's not the best player on his team anymore. You can argue that LeBron James is obviously the better player. He's the best player on the Lakers without a doubt.
Hmm.
And if anybody says otherwise, you're getting smacked.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Um, but I think that's the sole reason why Anthony Davis is number 5 for me under James Harden. James Harden's the best player on his team. AD is not. I think that Harden's going to average better, obviously more points. He's going to average more assists, and Harden's going to do good in the playoffs. And
I
I
think
think
he'll
that
do well. Yeah, I think he'll do well. I just don't think he's going to be able to get as many shots up because you're going to have Russ who's going to try and shoot more. And
that depends on their style of play, because Russ during 2020, not 2019, 2020 part of the season,
yeah,
Russ was averaging 32 points on the same amount of shots. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
yep. That's one reason why I put James
yeah.
Harden at 5. I mean, yeah,
But
AD isn't the best player on his team. James Harden is, but at the same time, LeBron has been passing to AD a lot throughout this season,
yeah,
which is a big factor of why he's doing so well and why LeBron's averaging over 10 assists. And yeah, James Harden is the best player on his team, but Russell Westbrook loves driving the ball to the basket.
yeah.
And so James Harden is not going to get as many possessions as he did in the last playoffs.
Yeah, but also James Harden is also the primary ball handler. And you still can't forget that James Harden is averaging 34 points with Russell Westbrook. 34. That's ridiculous.
No, yeah, that's great, but that's also less than what he had last year, which was what was it, 36?
36.
Yeah,
Only two less. Only two
I
with
know,
Russell Westbrook.
but I'm just saying, I think that Russell Westbrook in the playoff, which he tends to do, is tends to be a little bit of a ball hog and tries to take things himself, which he's
But that's because he was the best player on his team. He is not the best player on his team
he was
anymore.
not the best player on his team last year. Paul George was the best player on the team. Russell Westbrook was second.
Okay, but no, you could make the argument that Russell Westbrook was the best player on his team. Now you can't. James Harden is clearly way better
Wait,
than
how
Paul
could you
George.
make the argument last season that Russell Westbrook was on his team? Paul George was a top 3 MVP candidate. Russell Westbrook wasn't.
That's because Russell Westbrook gave up the rock for Paul George. And the season before, Russell Westbrook was better. Russell Westbrook was also the MVP in 2017.
Yeah,
And it
he
was
didn't have anybody.
it was Russ's team.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have anybody. He didn't have to give up the rock to anybody, and he was the sole
Yeah.
player. That's why that was one of his best playoffs because of it. But all right, well, I still think AD is gonna do better than James Harden. I mean, given the fact that I think they're gonna have a better playoff run, I still think that individually AD is gonna do excellent defensively and offensively. But all right, let's move on to number 3.
Yeah.
Um, I have Giannis.
I have Giannis as well.
Yeah, I mean, most likely where it's headed right now, he's probably going to win MVP. I put him at
Almost definitely.
yeah. I mean, I put him at 3 because he does well in the playoffs,
Just
but
not as good as the top 2 players.
yeah,
I
not
think
as
I
well.
think that's all we have to say. He's a great playoff player, just
Yeah,
not as good as number 1 and number 2.
yeah, I agree. All right, so
Literally.
now for the top 2, who do you have for number 2?
I have, drumroll please, LeBron James. LeBron James is number 2 because he has Anthony Davis as his teammate. That's my main reasoning. But also LeBron James is 35 years old, and he can't go to the backpacking version of LeBron James that he usually was in his earlier days.
Well, that's the thing because he doesn't need to. In 2018, when he was pretty much carrying the Cavs to the finals, he really didn't have anybody on that team that could help him. Now he has AD to help him. So yeah, you're
He
right.
had J.R. Smith, bro. Are you
Oh,
serious?
my bad. I forgot. The Henny God, J.R. Smith.
The Henny God.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. He can't carry the team anymore because he doesn't need to. He has
Yeah.
Anthony Davis with him. But the fact, yeah, he is 35, but even at him being 35, he's still top 2 in the MVP race.
Yeah,
He's still
but
one of the
but
best players in
also
the league, arguably the best player in the league at 35.
yes, but it doesn't matter that he's the best player at 35. It matters how good he is right now in the league compared to everybody else. Like people think that look, the fact that LeBron is playing this well at 35 is insane. It's great, but it doesn't do anything for him. Like it's like people think that the age factor makes him better. It doesn't.
No, I'm not saying it makes him better. He was obviously
Yeah.
better when he was younger, but he's 35 and he's still in the MVP race. He's averaging 25 points, over 10.
But don't forget, it's going into the playoffs.
10 assists, 7 rebounds, which is great. And most of the time, LeBron James does better in the playoffs, which is most likely what is going to happen in this playoffs.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I have number 1 at Kawhi. Kawhi Leonard, number 1. He's the defending Finals MVP. He's the best perimeter defender, and he's a phenomenal inside defender. He's going to be a top 10 defender of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree that he'll be a top 10 defender of all time.
And he's probably a top 5 on-ball defender, but that's suggestible. I think that Kawhi would but like the reason I also have Kawhi number 1 is because in a one-on-one game, I'm taking Kawhi over LeBron. Kawhi's a better defender, and Kawhi is not that far off of LeBron on offense.
What? Wait, are you talking about like right now or in prime?
Right now.
Okay, but still right now, I would still take LeBron. LeBron James, 6'9", 250 pounds, is a truck against everybody. No matter, I mean, yeah, he hasn't been as fast or as strong or durable like he was when he was younger, but he's still a truck.
Exactly. And when he was younger, he still lost to Kawhi Leonard in 2014. And year after year, it has been proven that Kawhi Leonard is a better winner going up against LeBron James than LeBron James going up against Kawhi. Kawhi is winning the matchup in the playoffs and in the regular season.
I don't think that at all. No.
Yeah. Kawhi Leonard has gone up against LeBron James 2 years in a row, in 2014 and 2013, and in the playoffs, Kawhi is winning that matchup 7-5.
Who won in 2013?
The Miami Heat.
There you go.
And who won in 2014? Kawhi Leonard wasn't even starting, I don't believe, in 2013. Kawhi Leonard starts in 2014. The Heat, how many games did they lose in, Jacob?
I don't know the exact. Do you know the exact?
5. And Kawhi Leonard was the Finals MVP. He basically, like, LeBron had a good series, but he wasn't as good as he could have been because Kawhi Leonard was guarding him.
Okay, but
I think that like it's going to be great to see the Lakers and the Clippers go off on each other, but I just think that Kawhi is the better player, and also Kawhi Leonard is without a doubt the best player on the team at all times, whereas LeBron can be the second best player to Anthony Davis at times, even though LeBron is usually the best player on the team.
All right, if you want to talk about the 2014 finals, let's look at Kawhi Leonard in the 2014 finals.
He was the Finals MVP, Jacob. You cannot take that away from him.
I'm not saying that, but I just want to point out that in the first 2 games, he had only 9 points.
That was when Kawhi Leonard was not as lethal on offense. How many points did he average that year? 15? He's averaging 27 now.
Okay, LeBron's averaging 25 at 35.
It doesn't matter how well he's performing at the age.
That does matter. Are you kidding me?
No, it doesn't. It does not matter. Age is not a factor. It doesn't matter how good they are at a certain age. Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, is better than LeBron at 27 than LeBron is at 35.
Let's say LeBron James does this let's say LeBron plays till he's 45, and
Jacob,
he has roughly the same stats as
but
now.
You're not listening to me though. Age does not play in a factor. Kawhi is 27. LeBron is 35. Does age make LeBron any better? No, it makes him worse. But age does not matter.
No, but
in this
age shows
matchup.
how he's
Age
not
does not
slowing down.
matter. I'm trying to
Age
tell
shows
people
how
that.
he's not slowing down, and he's still going to be as incredible in the playoffs as he is. In the playoffs, this is a fact. Whether right now LeBron James is the best playoff player. You can argue that he's one of the best playoff players of all. He is one of the best players of all time.
That's because, well, in 2018 he had nobody. He went to backpacking, and now he has Anthony Davis. He's not going to be
He can
anywhere
still do
near.
well with Anthony Davis because
Yes, but
let's say the
yeah, but
Clippers.
he's just
Hold
not.
on. Let me speak. Let's say the Clippers play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, which is what is going to happen. I told you this
Probably.
last time in the last podcast. Nobody's going to be able to guard Anthony Davis. And LeBron James is going to pop the ball out to Anthony Davis in the post, and he's going to score on Ivica Zubac.
Okay, but it doesn't. It's not going to change my thinking that Kawhi is better than LeBron. LeBron has Anthony Davis. That downs LeBron's play.
And Kawhi has Paul George. That downs his play as well.
Barely. Kawhi is doing better than he was last year. And Kawhi had a phenomenal playoff run. Phenomenal. He was averaging over 30 points. And they called him Boardman. More than 10 rebounds.
No, it was 9.
9. Okay. Almost 10. Boardman. They called him Boardman.
He also had less than 4 assists.
Okay. Kawhi Leonard is not that big of a passer. But it doesn't matter about that. I'm talking about the matchup. Kawhi's a better defender. Kawhi is nearly as good of a scorer as LeBron right now. Kawhi is also the better three-point shooter.
I don't know about that one.
Kawhi is a better three-point shooter. Kawhi, you can look at the career averages.
I'm looking at – hold on.
But LeBron has averaged around constant 35, 36. Kawhi Leonard, I believe, had 40% from 3 one season. I'm looking this up right now.
Season he has 36. And in 2015, he had 44. And
yeah. Kawhi Leonard has shot better from the three-point.
LeBron averaged 41% from 3 in the 2012-2013 season.
Jacob, that was 7 years ago. We're talking about now.
Kawhi's was what was it?
Kawhi is shooting
4 years ago.
37 to 36. Kawhi is also, but Kawhi has just constantly been a better three-point shooter in these past years. The past 2 to 3 years, Kawhi's a better three-point shooter. Kawhi's also a way better free throw shooter, which I know that.
I'm not gonna argue with free throw. Yeah, Kawhi's a better free throw shooter.
Yeah.
All right. But time and time again, we've seen LeBron dominate in the playoffs.
Yes, and Kawhi Leonard dominated in the playoffs. I'm going to read you Kawhi Leonard's averages right now. He averaged 30 points.
I have his averages.
Oh, okay. And you know what? 38% from 3, almost 50. 49 from the field, 88 from free throw, 9.1. And you keep telling me that LeBron dominated in playoffs. He had nobody. Kawhi Leonard was a legit championship contender, and he won. That's also the big difference. Kawhi won. LeBron didn't win. Kawhi
dominated. Win in the 2012-2013 season?
No. Their most recent
– oh, wait. No, you're right. He did win. He did win that season. And who still played?
Okay.
Your man, Kawhi Leonard. Boardman.
Okay, no need to get childish. No need to get childish, boy.
Boy.
Oh, and we also call him Boardman because he got 17 rebounds against Giannis. But I was talking about their most recent playoffs. Kawhi Leonard had a team. LeBron didn't have a team. Kawhi still averaged 30 points, 9 rebounds, which was ridiculous. And also, I'm just adding one more thing. Mm-hmm. LeBron averages way more assists than Kawhi because LeBron is the primary ball handler. Kawhi usually has a point guard handling the ball.
Yeah, it's because LeBron's playing point guard. He's going to have more assists, but still. Kawhi's averaging how many assists this season?
5.
5.
That's his best also.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, one more thing I want to point out. I
All
think
right.
it was 3 finals. Was it 3 or 4? I don't remember the exact, but LeBron James had the most in averages and totals in in all categories in
Because
both
he had
fields.
nobody.
No. When he had Kyrie and Kevin Love, he did this also. He had more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, 3 point. Well, I don't think 3 point percentage, but field goal percentage. All of those things he had better than both teams, which at that time it was the Warriors. Even with Kevin Durant, he still
You're
was.
looking at totals, though. You can't count totals. LeBron has played so many playoff games.
Okay, but I still think that LeBron James is going to dominate in the playoffs
Not with Kawhi Leonard guarding him
time and time again. He does.
time and
He's
time
still.
again.
All right, let's just wrap this up.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening.
I don't think
everybody.
there's any more to argue anyways.
No, yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Feel free to comment down below what you think about our lists and who you think is going to win the NBA championship and who is the best playoff player.
See you guys next time.